Substantial risk orders, or red flag laws, are gun control laws that permit police or other citizens to petition a state court to order the temporary removal of firearms from a person who may present a danger to others or themselves. The question is, do you believe red flag laws violate the impacted person's Fifth and 14th Amendment due process rights? And if so, what specific steps will you take to protect your constituents from the imposition of such laws?
So with respect to red flag laws, I say flag on the play. I'm absolutely opposed to red flag laws, and I have been on the wrong end of a shotgun with someone who was mentally unstable. So I know what that feels like from a point of fear, and then the empowerment of being able to defend yourself because you are armed. We absolutely need to make sure that there are no infringements of our Second Amendment rights. I've been very strong on that, very clear about that, while others were giving press releases and passionate, fired up speeches for social media. I was doing the work across the Commonwealth, helping others find their voice about this issue, because our rights to defend ourselves are right up there, secondary to life and the First Amendment freedoms that we have, because the Second Amendment protects all of our other rights. It is a violation of the due process laws in the Fifth and 14th Amendment. And worse, you probably aren't getting that property back, even when you are proven to be mentally competent in a court of law, and no one wants to tell you that. So now they've also violated your rights to property because the government has stolen that from you. And I will fight it with every fiber of my being. Red flag laws are awful. And in this day and age, anyone can say anything. I used to say that anyone could sue you for any reason, but nowadays it's even easier. Anyone can say anything. Anyone can make that claim. We see it on social media all the time, especially among conservatives. Our posts get reported because, oh, you hurt my feelings. Well, guess what? Red flag laws are the same kind of thing and do the same damage, the lasting damage to your reputation and your right to defend yourself, which is a God-given right protected by the Second Amendment of our Constitution. And I always thought shall not infringe was very self-evident as a truth. No compromise, not now, not ever. And we need to restore the rights that have already been the restrictions that have already been infringements at the federal level.
Okay. Daniel?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I'm against red flag laws. I always have been, I always will be. They're a violation of the Second, not only the Fifth and the 14th, but also the Fourth Amendment against unreasonable search and seizure, because ultimately a red flag law relies on an unreasonable search in the sense that the idea of who's dangerous and who's not is not supposed to be in the hands of a jilted ex-girlfriend or or somebody who's trying to disarm their future victim. In fact, the ability to disarm somebody subsequent to being convicted by a jury of their peers is something that should only occur after somebody has a felony conviction. So let's be totally clear about that. I'm not for red flag laws. They're bad. And I've been entirely clear on this, and I'll be clear on it again tonight if I have to. So here's the thing. What we need to do is we need to continue to, as gun owners, as responsible gun owners, what we need to do is we need to be good about educating people on this issue, because red flag laws actually poll, get this, this is gonna blow your mind, Mark, if you don't know this. They poll at 97% popularity. It's terrifying because most people don't understand what they are. And when you try to explain them, they're like, I don't understand. So you've got to be really careful and really clear when you explain this. And so that's something that I think all of us as gun owners, as concealed carry permit holders, as protectors of our own castles, we need to be doing better, is explaining the problem with red flag laws. And fundamentally, even if they were, even when they're passed in Maryland and New York and New Jersey, what we see is what we saw in 2018 in Maryland, where a man, a 61-year-old man, I think he was 61, was shot in his own home at 5:17 in the morning when the police did a no-knock warrant on a red flag law. And he armed himself, as he should, when somebody's breaking into his house, and they shot him dead. So that's the kind of abuses we're going to see with red flag laws. We've already seen it in a number of other states, and they don't solve the underlying problem, which is if you're concerned if somebody's mentally ill, suicidal, homicidal, there's already methods in the law to do involuntary commitment and that kind of thing. So red flag laws are unnecessary, they don't work, and they're unconstitutional.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Tom? Tom, we can't hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
That's interesting because that hasn't always been everybody's stance out here. Okay, everybody needs to go out and get informed about people who have, and I absolutely know that Elisa has been an absolute patriot with regard to defending the Second Amendment. But this isn't something that became a political convenience for me in November. I've actually been defending the Second Amendment for many years. I'm a professional instructor, NRA instructor, and I'm here to tell you that this isn't about self-protection. Okay, the Second Amendment is about protecting ourselves from tyranny. Okay, it has nothing to do. It's a residual effect that an armed citizenry is able to protect themselves from criminals. Okay, the bottom line is this: not all of these candidates have always believed that red flag laws were bad. Only up until recently, when confronted with the facts and the abuse that would happen with regard to PTSD and with regard to mental health and with regard to suicide, that they changed their position because they found out it was politically inconvenient. Okay. I, on the other hand, have been defending the Second Amendment since well before there was a movement in Virginia. Okay. That being said, as a professional instructor and as somebody who's been watching this issue since 2016 very closely, the Democrats don't want to just take away guns. They want to take away guns, then they want to do away with the Electoral College, and then after that they want to tamp down on what's called hate speech. Okay, and recently in Virginia, politicians have tried to call hate speech anybody who basically slanders or yells at a politician on the internet. They're going to call that hate speech. Because once they've branded you a domestic terrorist, which is what they're going to do, then they're going to be able to take away your guns. So this is far more complicated than just self-defense. This is about tyranny. And if you look at people's records, you're going to know that I am the strongest advocate for the Second Amendment of all of the candidates that you have as an option on June 23rd.
Tom, lying repeatedly doesn't make it true. I mean, you can keep lying every time we do one of these.
I didn't say anything about you.
Yes, you did. You absolutely did. You said one of these candidates is bad on this, but Elisa is good. So let me address it. Your campaign put out a silly edited video where I was explaining to a college student literally why red flag laws are bad. And you spliced it to make it seem like I'm for red flag laws. What I said was that in a parallel universe in which we had something that you called a red flag law, which actually did protect Second, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment rights, then that'd be fine. And what you did with your little silly video is you cut it to say, oh, Daniel Gates says red flag laws are fine. Nice job. Didn't work. Not true. Go back to the drawing board on that. Telling a lie repeatedly is not helpful.
Do I get a chance to respond, Mark?
That's not the way the rules are, Tom.
No.
Use your next 2 minutes to go for it.
I didn't name Daniel at all, and I didn't create any video. I haven't created any videos about you, Daniel.
It's on your page, Tom.
I didn't create any videos
all right.
about you.
Okay,
Daniel.
fine. I retract then, Mr. Speciale.
It's a complete and utter fabrication, Daniel.
Okay.
I made it up. Those are your words. They're all out on the internet in multiple instances until you were educated about what red flag laws really did. In particular, would have a terrible effect with veterans regarding PTSD, because we would be preventing people from getting mental health care, because once they go get mental health care, they would be branded as somebody who could not possess firearms. That is why red flag laws are a slippery slope. I've known that from the very beginning. It wasn't a hypothetical answer. The entire response for Daniel Gate is out there on the internet. It wasn't a hypothetical thing. He says he supports red flag laws in so much as.
Then let me help you again, Tom. I don't support red flag laws.
Daniel, but it's out there for everyone to read.
I'm helping you right now, Tom.
Okay,
Lying repeatedly and vociferously is not helpful.
Guys,
okay, Daniel. Okay.
Let's go ahead and get back on track here. The next question, I believe,